Welcome, guys. Welcome to United Real Therapy. Therapy Army, how are we? 3 points. Get in there. Get in there. 3 points. That's what counts. 9 games. 8 games to go? 8 games to go. So the countdown begins. We're what? 9 points ahead of 4. 11 points ahead of Liverpool and Tottenham and these kind of teams. So we're in there, guys. I know it wasn't pretty, but towards this late of the season, it don't have to be all pretty. I'm joined tonight by Rachel, and I'm also joined by my Mighty Mundo. Mighty Mundo and Rachel, welcome to the stream. Actually, Rachel's making a debut to the United Real Therapy. Welcome, Rachel. So you go first, Rachel. Give us your analysis of the game.
Well, first I want to say thank you for inviting me on. It's a privilege to be here. I always watch your shows. I always enjoy your content. The game was boring. It wasn't great. I thought Fred played excellent today. One of his better performances for us. He hasn't played well for us for a while, but today he was very, very good. I always criticize Fred, but he was good today. Maguire was decent. Thought our forwards weren't great at all. I thought Cavani was horrendous. Thought Pogba was horrendous today. His passing was bad. He had a couple of decent passes, but overall bad. His first touch was horrendous. I mean, he was basically cosplaying Lukaku today. Mm-hmm. But you know what? We got 3 points. We needed the 3 points. Gave us some breathing room because all of our rivals dropped points over the weekend. So I'm happy with that. But yeah, the performance overall wasn't great, but we got the win, so that's all that matters, really.
Exactly like you said. Yeah, there was really a lot of poor performances in the game. Mundo, talk to me. What was happening? Talk to me. What did you think of that game?
I mean, I agree with every point that Rachel just made about, Fred. I thought Fred played really, really well. I think it helped that he didn't have to think about attacking too much. As he does when he plays with McTominay, when you've got Pogba and Fernandes, he just concentrates on what he does well. So he did that really well today. What a finish by Rashford, by the way.
Yeah,
what a finish! What composure! He, up until that point, he'd been really poor, but a great finish. So I'm just going to focus on the positives. Mm-hmm. Mason Greenwood goes up front, and within a couple of minutes, he scores. Playing as a 9. He looked lively. Cavani. There's been a lot coming out in the press about Cavani recently, about him falling out with Oli, about him wanting to return to South America, etc., etc. Mm-hmm. After today's performance, I think there might be some truth in that, because the one thing you get from Cavani, irrespective of whether or not he's been out injured or whatever, is you get endeavour. You get him pressing, you get him hurrying, you get him working hard. Today he just looked disinterested. It wasn't making any of his usual runs. He wasn't pressing. He wasn't running. Mm-hmm. He was doing nothing, absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. And if that was Tony Martial, Twitter would be on fire right now, right?
It would be on fire.
Twitter would be on fire.
Comments here, Natalie, NYC, New York, 5:30, 3 points. But Mr. Structure, honestly, what does the Wan-Bissaka offer besides tackles? Because Cavani seemed like a headless chicken running around. I think Natalie summed up what Mundo was just saying. We're joined also by Oli Bumbaye in the house. Oli Bumbaye, give us your analysis of that game, my friend. Come on, give it to us raw.
Evening, Dino, Proctor, Rachel.
Hello.
All right, babe.
Talk about a resurrection. Second half, very impressed, very happy. Boys came out, different team, forced the issue. I caught the tail end of Fred. That was my man of the match today. I thought Fred was brilliant, did what Fred does. If he hadn't gotten man of the match, I'd probably give it to Mason. Very happy. I thought it was nice to see Donny. Pogba started. Totally different half, but, this is what Manchester United can do. And we always, one thing, we do have a tendency to come back in games. So, yeah, game of two halves. But today, Oli Bumbaye, man, very, very happy.
Well, so going to some of the what people are saying in the comments. First of all, I forgot to wish you a happy Easter Sunday to all my Christian massive out there. And if you're not Christian, you're celebrating. You live in these Christian countries. You're celebrating it anyway. Happy Easter Sunday. And United did. Yeah, it was. It was. You know, it was tumultuous, wasn't it? It was tumultuous. But one thing I would say, what I saw, I thought the first 15 minutes we played really well. I thought as a five up the pitch, they pressed really well. I thought our energy was good. I thought we could have, Brighton couldn't even get out of their own half or out of their own area. I thought without really creating or testing the keeper, we pressed really well. That last half an hour of that first half, you might as well forget about it. You might as well watch paint dry because that was totally, you know what I mean? But I did, I put a tweet out saying they play this kind of, because they got really good patterns to play where they switch the ball. And I did mention Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I did say they might look to target Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and oh behold, you know what I mean? They switch the ball in from the right to the left, and the Welbeck goes in between Aaron Wan-Bissaka and then Lindelof. And of course, the reaction from Lindelof or from any of the defenders. I actually thought Henderson made a good save. But obviously the ball came straight back to Danny Welbeck, and I thought he put it away. I did think that was a penalty, but I think he still should have scored, Danny Welbeck, and that would have been a whole lot of different kind of pressure on the game. But Rachel, coming to you, what do you think when we play? What do you think the difference is that you notice when we play Bailly Maguire or Bailly Lindelof? Other than when we play Lindelof and Maguire, in terms of squeezing the game up the pitch, in terms of those two centre halves, because one of them is still quick and is quick on the cover, what that does for our team in terms of being more offensive team.
You know what? Like in the last few weeks, we've actually seen us play a higher line, even with Maguire Lindelof, to be fair. Mm-hmm. So I think what Bailly brings is that he's more aggressive, and he actually communicates really well with AWB. So AWB, he actually positions better in defense when Bailly's there. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a high line thing or how we squeeze the pitch, because as I said, like against Chelsea, we did it and we had Maguire Lindelof, and against Man City, we actually squeezed higher up the pitch as well. But Bailly communicates really well with AWB. And this isn't the first time we've conceded a goal with Lindelof and AWB, where a player makes a run in between them, and one of them doesn't pick it up, or they're just not strong enough because both players are poor in the air. So Bailly sort of stops that from happening, because he will go for that ball and he will win that ball. He will clear it with his left ball bag, whereas Lindelof doesn't even want to go anywhere near it. So I think that's what Bailly brings to the team. He's just aggressive.
Yeah, he's more aggressive, but I think. Also, I mean, just looking back at it, I have seen it, definitely. I noticed, I think I said it when the match reaction after the Derby game, after we beat Man City. I did say that was the best second-half performance I've seen from Man United as a complete team. Like, everybody had positions, knew their positions, kept the spaces tight, held on to the ball. That second-half performance was good. But I actually think Danny Welbeck would have scored, because you see where Lindelof is. And Harry Maguire stretching, and Danny Welbeck is 30 now. He's not sprint chicken. You know what I mean? He's a guy who's had a lot of injuries, and you can see he was on the other side of both of our centre halves. But with Bailly there is quick to cover. He's quick to get that ball out. He's like you said, he's more aggressive and he's more commanding when he's fit. But we've got Kelly's Radim here. Lazy just said the way Danny dragged Ben White out of position and created that pocket space for Greenwood to run into. Score was great. I actually thought that Greenwood goal reminded me of that Cavani goal against Southampton. I don't know if you remember the winner against that. Was it the winner? I think it was the winner against Southampton, where the ball went from left, you know what I mean, from left to right. The ball then came back into the box, and Greenwood made that. I mean, he's not really good in there. That's one aspect of his game that he really needs to improve if he wants to play centre forward for Man United. But it was a standing kind of diving header. We're just glad that he went in. Coming back to you, Mundo. Fred, you think Fred was man of the match?
I give it to Fred. I think Fred was more composed today than he has been, for a while. So he played well. But just picking up on the point that Rachel made about the defence, and you were talking about as well about the high line. Honestly, the goal that Brighton scored today, it's like Groundhog Day to me. It's absolutely Groundhog Day. You know that film with Bill Murray? You know that song, I've Got You, Babe, right? Every time we can see the goal, I hear that song in my head because I'm seeing the same thing over. I'm waking up and seeing the same thing over and over again. And what I'm seeing is Luke Shaw failing to cut out a cross. The ball, somehow Lindelof getting caught under the ball constantly. Wan-Bissaka not covering on the back post. And a forward getting in there and scoring. It's like Sevilla did it. Every team is like they figured us out. It's
But Brighton did it a lot more than any other team. The way they kept like having the overlaps in one area, then swinging that ball into Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So a lot of their chances in that game, where they made 25 chances, came from that. That's what happened.
Yeah,
That's
switching the play, switching. But the thing is, like Luke Shaw's. It's like I'm splitting hairs now. I'm kind of criticizing him when actually he's been our best player for most of the season. Right? He's been phenomenal. But one area of his game that he needs to improve on is his defending crosses, because you've got to stop that's like defender 101. It's like even at Sunday League, even when I played at college or whatever, what I was taught was stop the ball from getting into the box. That's a fullback's job, to stop the ball from coming across. He never does it. The ball comes in. So that's like the first phase of, where there's a failure. Lindelof, I don't know why he keeps getting caught under the ball. I think if Bailly's there, Bailly probably wins that ball, or at least puts pressure on Welbeck. And then obviously then Wan-Bissaka falls asleep on the back post constantly. But again, I'm criticising him, but got to remember, this is only his third full season as a first team player, isn't it? He only had one season with Palace. He's had almost 2 seasons in Man United. So it's hard to criticise guys like Wan-Bissaka who are still a bit green, and Shaw when they are in the form he's in at the moment. But if we want to talk about winning leagues, we want to talk about competing at the highest level, then you've got to cut those kind of things out, because a better team than Brighton, you give them those type of chances, and it's good night Vienna.
You know what? I think what he needs, me personally, I think in the summer, obviously, I can't see him getting picked for England. He needs to watch those games. Man United need to make him a DVD and needs to go and study. He needs to go and study, and he needs to just take his friend and a couple of his friends who are ex-professional, maybe some of them are professionals, just swing the ball in, and one of them just keeps running on a blind side of him, so that he can let it. That bit there is easy to get yourself in a position to be in a position for you to be in, to cut that ball out and to be because I actually think his reactions are quite good if he can get there. But he falls asleep, and most teams target him. I mean, he was the winger, wasn't he? He only ever played one season as a right back at Palace, and he was a winger. So, and sometimes when he goes forward, I'm like, what kind of winger were you, bro? The way he's up dancing and everything. But coming back to you, Rachel, obviously it's a massive controversy. I mean, the press are blowing it up, and some of the fan base are blowing it up. Does that mean De Gea's career at Man United is done? Is that what we're thinking today? By Ollie picking Henderson?
I don't know, because obviously David De Gea's wife or girlfriend had a baby.
Ollie picking Henderson. Have fun.
Oh, that's loud.
Yeah, it's go on, Rachel. Sorry, it was a few.
Oh, yeah, fine. Yeah, so. Oh, that hurt.
Yeah.
Who's the feedback coming from? You?
From Irfan. Irfan, the feedback's coming from you. Can you mute it, please? Mute it. You're watching us.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. One second.
Get yourself some high-speed broadband rather than whatever you're using, some dial-up or something for the 90s.
Come back in, Irfan. Just come back in. Sorry. Go on, Rachel.
I've forgotten what the question was.
So the question was, has Ollie basically made... Has Ollie, by that selection today, ended David De Gea's career at Man United?
Oh, no, I don't know, because obviously David De Gea's wife or girlfriend had a baby, and David De Gea was out for a few weeks, and then maybe Ollie thought that it wouldn't be a good idea to just drop Dean Henderson straight away. As soon as David De Gea comes back, maybe he'll just bring him back in slowly. I don't think David De Gea is like not going to play any more games for us for the end of the season. I think he's going to keep playing. I just don't know when. But it's so hard to say if a player is going to play their last game. I mean, every season has Pogba done that? Has Pogba played his last game for us? So we'll just have to see in the summer. Like,
let me rephrase the question. It's not his last game, but it basically means that he's no longer the number one. That's what I mean. Sorry, I'll say that. He's no longer number one. I mean, his partner lives in Spain. She lives in Madrid. Obviously, that deal collapsed. It was that fax machine that messed up. He would have been a Real Madrid player now. That's the maddest thing about this. So his partner actually was living in Spain. Some of the time she would come, back and forth. But majority of the time she lives in Spain, and he really wants to go back to Madrid. I don't mean it's his last game, but does that mean that Ollie has thought, right, Henderson is the guy for us?
Probably. I think that was the plan all along, isn't it? Because you wouldn't have a goalkeeper on like 130 grand a week, whatever it is, and then have another goalkeeper that's on 300 grand a week and not plan to keep Dean Henderson after giving him that new contract. He probably wanted to bring him back in slowly and then phase David De Gea out, I imagine. I think that was what the plan was. I didn't think it would happen this soon. I actually thought David De Gea would be staying another season, but he might just end up going in the summer. Who knows, really?
Welcome, Irfan, to the stream. Irfan, give us your analysis of that game. What did you think of the game?
It was a very strange one. I mean, like, for the first 10 minutes, we came out the blocks very quick, and I thought, okay, we look ready today. And then, we show our frailty because we give away. I wouldn't say it was a sloppy goal because it was a top cross. It was a very, very good cross. But, if we were a top defensive team, we would have found a way to make sure that goal didn't happen. But, let's take anything away. It was a good goal. But it's the fact that for the next half, what did we do in that game after that? It's like we're 6-0 down. I didn't get it. We're only 1-0 down. We didn't do anything. So I don't know what Ollie did in the second half to say, okay, change it. He didn't really change it, but anybody could see that the gap between Fred and Pogba was way too far from Bruno. I mean, so it was easy for them. And the one thing I've got to respect Brighton because they're a very well drilled team. Let's not take it away from them. These are not cowboys. It's hard to believe that this is third from the bottom. But I think they have more of a football intelligence as a team structure than we do. I really, really do.
Well, Graham Potter is a fantastic coach. Actually, just to give a little bit insight, Brighton, from all the way till under 12, 13, 14, 16, they play the same way. The club structure, they got a sporting director, they've got chairman and the owner. They all say, we want to play this way. We want to be like the new Swansea. When Swansea were doing it with Rodgers and you know what I mean, and different managers. They want to be that club. So even if they were to go down, I think they will still keep.
Yeah, they will. They play proper football.
And they also have this thing where they're going around the globe to literally getting out, buying talent, all over scouting. And for a team that low to be in the Premier League, their scouting network is fantastic. But what they're doing is that they're enticing players from different parts of the world because of the style of football they play. And players know that if you're a well-coached team, if you're a well-drilled team, you're going to showcase more of your skills. By the way, guys, there's 30 of you in here, over 30 of you in here. Please subscribe, like, and share. We cannot build this community without you. And I'll go back to Oli Bumbaye. Oli Bumbaye, so what were the positives in the second half? Some people could say we made mistakes, Brighton, we capitalized on Brighton mistakes. For me, one thing is always, I thought Brighton's defensive line today was fantastic. I thought, and we are too ponderous. We take too many touches on the ball. The biggest thing about Man United, what frustrates me is that we take too many touches on the ball when the ball moves faster than footballers. So you let one touch get it, you know what I mean? One touch football, move that ball quickly. But what do you think we did better in the second half?
Well, first of all, this is a difficult game. If you listen to our, pre-match, I think Mundo alluded to it. It'll be a difficult game. They're a good football inside. And when a team, when we go 1-0 down, that is where the problems can arise. But when we go 1-0 up, we are a totally different proposition. The goal is the goal. It starts with Pogba giving the ball away, mistake. But it's about, okay, it's been a terrible first half. Can you show us? Can you force the issue? And we forced the issue properly. I also think, for me, at 30 minutes, we had a very good spell in the first half. Then that subsided. But second half, for me, I thought we were, well worth it, man. We pressed and we did what we needed to do to get it. Maguire, for me, is looking nice these days. I like Maguire. And Aaron Wan-Bissaka, again, I'm liking the player more and more as I see him. Mistakes happen, back post, all the defenders have made mistakes. I'm not going to kill him for it too much, but I like what he's bringing. Today, he was up there and he's getting the crosses in. It's always usually passing backwards. And what I'm liking more about him is he's not afraid to get up there. He doesn't, it's not like a deer in headlights when he gets into that last third. He can, protect the ball. He cuts inside now, gives a pass. His confidence is growing, but the quality of the deliveries will get there. Fred, Uncle Fred, mate, Uncle Fred. I really enjoyed his performance.
Can't go Fred.
Really nice close ball control.
He gave a Sunday sermon on Easter Sunday, didn't he? He was giving a sermon today. But I actually thought the best player in the game today was Basuma. Honestly, Basuma.
Really good.
You know what, Rachel? I'm coming to you. How do you rate Basuma? What kind of a player do you think Basuma? For me, Basuma next to Pogba. Ooh, different sauce. I know Fred played well today, but Basuma for me, playing for the team, you know what I mean, struggling with relegation. He's there. He's very composed. He's always looking forward. He doesn't panic at all. His first touch is always good tight control. His football intelligence. Oh, I thought he came to Old Trafford today to say, Man United, you don't need to look no further than me today. And he's tackling. How many times was he cutting out block? I understand they were defending a lot deep, but how many times was he cutting out? I kept hearing his name. Every time United put balls in, he was tackling. I thought he kept Bruno quiet in that last half an hour of that first half. But what do you think of Basuma as a footballer, Rachel?
I think he's very talented. Wins the ball back well. Very tall, very physical. Decent passer of the ball. I think he's quite inconsistent, though. Some of the games that I've seen him, I think he's quite rash still at times. He's very young, so he will learn, obviously. But I think he's very talented. What I'd say about if Man United want him, I think we need someone that's a little bit more experienced or proven, just because we've got a massive issue in the defensive midfield area. So even though I agree with that. He's not really a defensive midfielder. He's played quite a bit this season, but originally he actually played more of a box-to-box midfielder. So I don't know. I think I like him. I think he's going to be a very good player, but I think we need someone a bit more experienced. Like if we were serious, we'd go for someone like Ndidi or Declan Rice. We won't because our board is trash. But I do like Bissouma, but I don't think he's someone that we should be going for at the moment. I think we need someone a bit more experienced in there. If I'm honest with you.
Irfan, you wanted to come in there.
I mean, look, I just wanted to say, I thought Bissouma was amazing. I thought it was a brilliant player because, when you watch a football, the first thing you look for football intelligence, and and that's the control of the guy. The ball is like glued to his foot, and he never gives the ball away. So, no one's talking about Tariq Lamptey, the guy that I really love in that team, and he's out injured. So even without him, this guy just stepped up and they did the business. So, they made us look very, very ordinary. And that's why I sort of respected him. It was lucky that we had 2 moments in our Moments FC in the second half to get us out of jail again, because I didn't see anything else. And like I said, I just think we pushed forward in the second half. But, no respect to sort of, big respect to them. It's just that I just don't understand why are we so poor in the way we move? Why is it so bad? Why is it such a? I understand that everybody knows that the build-up play is way too slow. It's just so slow. So you're never going to stretch a team if your build-up play is very slow. So they get back in position. I mean, did you see how fast Ben Dunk was running to get back in position? Did you see the guy? See how fast he was. I mean,
Ben White and Dunk. Ben Dunk.
I
mean, he's touted actually. He's touted. I think in 2 seasons he scored 20 goals for Brighton. 16 of them headers. So
Wow.
it just shows you he's more of a threat than Maguire in there. And one of the biggest reasons to justify that £80 million for Maguire, because we all got giddy. We saw that bit of the World Cup in England for England, and we thought, oh, this guy can head the ball, but he's actually
but I will say, Nuruddin, Maguire's looked good in the last 2-3 games he's played.
Yeah.
I don't rate this guy at all, but he has looked good in the last 2 or 3 games. He's looked solid, and
I thought he put out a cross today. They could have. It was 2 against 1, and they could have scored. Yeah. And I thought that his last-ditch tackling, the timing was brilliant.
I think his positional play is better at the moment than it's ever been. He's in the right position. That's the thing as well. Not the best, but it's better than it was for the first 4 or 5 months of the season where he looked terrible.
Yeah. I mean, staying with you, Efan, what do you think? Do you think David De Gea's career is done by him, or do you agree with Rachel that he's going to play this season? But to me, I thought today was a big statement because he's been back now. He's had the 2 weeks. Obviously, he's been away with Spain, and then he came back. And before that, he was only, he was back at least for a couple of weeks. Do you know
what I honestly think it is? Call me very cynical, but I just think it's the board up top saying we can save £200,000 a week. We'll get a second guy in, and that's. I can't think it's anything else. It's nothing else.
Yeah. I
can't see it being any other reason.
I've got an unpopular opinion. I don't know if Henderson's good enough or not. I personally think David De Gea's time is done at Man United. For me, I know you can't just harper and mark a one game in a player, but I thought the Sheffield United game, I mean, the way he got bullied, it was just, and even the way teams were playing against us. You understand certain teams will target Wan-Bissaka on that ball where he's in that back post, and Rachel outlined there between him and Lindelof because they don't communicate, where Eric Bailly communicates better with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I think David De Gea, I genuinely think there's something in the fact that his partner lives in Spain. He lives in Madrid. And I don't think he's interested. I just genuinely think he's done here. He's been more than a decade now at Man United. I think it's time to wrap up. But you see it. You see what our board do. You see the bankers that we got in charge. JB Morgan. That's what we should call, really. The new one should be JB Morgan FC. Because Woodward was a JB Morgan guy. And you can see we're paying for 2 keepers. We're paying $250,000 for 2 keepers. You know what I mean?
Well, actually,
half a million
keepers. Half of it. Well, there's been some. It looks like the club's been briefing the press again because something came out about the board are keen to get De Gea off the wage bill because he's on $350,000 a week. Yeah. We've got
3 quarters, not quarters.
Yeah, we've got 4 goalkeepers and we're paying almost $600K in wages.
Crazy.
So they're like, we get De Gea off. We've got Henderson, and I don't think it's a coincidence that I think Maguire doesn't trust. I don't think the defenders trust De Gea because Maguire's form has improved since Henderson's been in goal.
But I think
there's a correlation there.
But I think that can go 2 ways. De Gea don't trust him either. I think De Gea's time is done. I've defended him. Many of you know I've defended him for a long, long time when he was going through his bad form. I think you could say the same about that, Know that De Gea doesn't trust Maguire and Lindelof either.
They don't trust each other. But with Henderson, I think he commands the box a bit better. And today, Brighton put him under a lot of pressure. Oh yeah, he dropped 1 ball, which could have been costly. But every time they put the ball in the box, I was having a heart attack.
Well, no,
because they've got some big guys, Dunk and White, and the other guy, the other centre half, and they were literally standing under the crossbar every time the ball came in the box. But I thought we've stood the pressure well. If that was De Gea, that would have been a nightmare. You could just imagine he would have probably ended up throwing the ball in his own net or something. So it's like he's regressed. He's gone back to the De Gea that we bought. When we first bought him and he was a weakling, and then he started to get better at commanding his box and everything. And then it just seemed as though, I don't know if it's a confidence thing. I don't know if he's just lost interest. I don't know what it is. As you say, he's been here a decade. Yeah. So he's probably thinking now, time to move on.
I genuinely think that, and that doesn't mean to say endorsing Henderson straight away. I think we might need Donnarumma. I think Donnarumma is a fantastic goalkeeper at AC Milan. I'm sure from what I'm hearing that he's not signed. You see, Mino Raiola Yeah, I think
Yes.
Yeah, he is.
Forget it. I might as well stop. I'll stop right there. Oli Bumbaye, can we get your views on David De Gea? And you think David De Gea is basically this is his last season, hooray, to say goodbye and move back to Madrid?
Well, if we put aside all the speculative items in relation to the De Gea saga, for me, he's still by a distance the best keeper at the club. And from what I've seen of Henderson, he's a good keeper. We should pay him because, they've paid him to stay because he could have gone and people would have bought him. But he's got work to do if he's going to dislodge De Gea in terms of ability. Form is one thing, but from what I've seen of Henderson, there's work to do there yet. I mean, when he's in goal, there are, he palms the ball out, not hard saves, into dangerous positions. Today he dropped one. He has he snatches at the ball. That goal against Milan, that was a bit of a Pickford. So for me, he's good, but I think people are getting a little bit too excited. Let's let him work. David De Gea is one of the best, and he has been for a long time. He's had some form issues, but as a pure keeper, not yet. Not for me. Not for me. I want Dave to stay, and Dave hopefully will come back in, and he should start, man. He's the champion, and as far as I'm concerned, Henderson has to take that title from him. And by no stretches of the imagination has Henderson done that yet. No way. Not for me.
Yo,
We need a new keeper.
People are shouting out Rachel in the comments. Apparently on Danny's channel, she's done a brilliant analysis of Man United formations and style of play and the patterns of play that we do have. So those of you, can you shout out the channel so people can go and check out your analysis about United's formation, United's and patterns of play, United's style of play? Rachel.
Oh, it's on the first 11. It's at Indiana's channel.
Okay.
Yeah, check that out if you want to have a look at, if you're interested in that kind of stuff.
I think it was it's like a full presentation of analysis. Rachel spent proper time analyzing Man United and how we play. It's interesting because I've been known to be more of a hardened critic because I'm one of those people that I want Solskjaer to do well, but sometimes he doesn't help himself by playing, having favorites in the team, playing two guys at the back that don't complement each other, and then playing two other guys in there who don't, to babysit them, those two. But to me, the best football we've played under Oli was the first 3 months, and I thought the 4-3-3 formation for me was a terrific formation because we had the personnel. I definitely think that Herrera was a massive part of that. You know what I mean? And then obviously Matic then towards the end of last season was brilliant when we had that consistent run. But moving on anyway to one of my favorite players on the Man United, Uncle Tony Martial. Looks like he's out for the season. I mean, it was really strange for some of these reports that we were getting that he could be fit. I mean, it was weird because some of the reports were saying that he could be fit for the France's third and last game. But when I saw the injury, he looked like he'd done something to his knee. Like he'd done something that, the pitch, I think the pitch gave way on him, or his foot or his studs got stuck on the pitch. And that's like when you twist the knee, you're going to be out for a while. But if it is, a lot of the United fan base actually getting the knives out, start digging it. I actually think there's aspects of me that really wants him to leave and to show United fans and to go to a more stable club, more of an ambitious club that's going to challenge for titles, and for Martial to show his real talent. So on this one, I'll go to Oli Bumbaye because he's one of his critics. Even though today Man United played with 10 men because Cavani was non-existent. And I know you're not going to say anything about Cavani's performance today because he looked like he was like on the plane back to Latin America, signing for Boca Juniors. That's what he looked like. He looked like he was on that plane sleeping.
You're right, Dino, and he's still better than Martial today.
I don't know.
No.
Now, listen, if you're, Tony, last year, I'm a big fan of our last season last year because I thought the boys really swam. We were short. We got rid of our main striker, Sanchez. Pogba missed a lot of the season. Tony, Mason, Rashford, they did it. I had no complaints. But the problem with Tony for me is I don't think Tony's made the kind of progress in his head that I would like to have seen a player of his age and a player that's been here this long. I don't see Tony opening spaces up for his teammates. Tony likes the ball to feet, runs at players, runs into walls, and his head goes down. Do you know what I mean? And there's the injury issues, there's the form issues. And this is why I say, look, you can get a defender, you can get a CDM, you can get a right winger and stuff. But if Cavani goes and it's just Anthony Martial next year, man, that's not a good beginning for trying to catch City, Liverpool, if that's the aim, 80, 85 points minimum. So this is my issue with Tony. I mean, I don't think Tony's anywhere near world-class player or anything like that. And if we are going to get a striker as a backup, then, we'll see how that works out. But I'd like somebody better than Tony to lead the line, personally.
Interesting. Rachel, coming to you. I don't know if I've heard your views on Martial, but the fan base is quite split. I'm one of the original Martial. Martial FC. I'm one of the original. I was a chairman.
So let me just say, Martial for me as well. He doesn't die for goals. He doesn't live goals. You look at the other proper strikers. They live, eat, breathe. You know what I mean? They're predators. They love goals. They're all about goals. Tony's not all about goals. Tony goes looking for the ball. He's like caught between, is he a striker? It's like Firmino, but without the quality. Honestly.
I think that's a bit unfair. I think
look at his goal record.
But let me just finish this. When Tony's not in the team, I think his hold-up play is fantastic, and I think that's drastically improved. I think his hold-up play, the way he brings people into the game, I think the way he sometimes moves, and then Bruno sometimes can go beyond him. But anyway, Rachel, I'm not going to defend my man. You know what? The stats prove my man. But I would love to know your views of what do you think about Martial and how a lot of the fan base are collaborating for him to be headed out. I mean, people are making videos saying 30 million, he should be gone for 30 million. We'll take 30 million for Martial.
I think it's a bit of an overreaction. I think we play better with Martial because he's better in the build-up play.
Rachel, you're talking about Manchester United fan base. Overreaction.
Yeah, I know. But I think Martial's better in the build-up. Personally, I think he links up a lot better with our midfield and our wide players or our inside forwards. So when Cavani plays, I find that he makes some good runs. Usually, not today. I think he was awful today. But usually he makes good runs and he creates a lot of space. But our inside forwards don't exploit those spaces efficiently enough. So it doesn't matter that he makes those runs, if I'm being honest. Whereas like Martial will get the ball to feet and try and play it off to one of our inside forwards or one of our midfielders, and it looks a lot better. There's more rhythm to it. There's more of a flow to it. So I don't think Martial's a clinical number 9 or an elite striker or anything like that. I think he's very far behind in that sense. But I think the way we build up is a lot smoother when Martial plays. So it's kind of difficult. I think we need to find a striker that can do a bit of both. But is there a striker out there that can do that? I don't think so.
But to just ask you the question, do you think that because our inside forwards and our midfield, if our midfield and inside forwards were better and Tony was getting a lot of chances, I definitely agree, that he's lost a lot of form and the confidence is gone. I thought, to me, the biggest disappointment to 2 games that I can remember was one game last season. Even though he did fantastic, it was a Sevilla game. I thought he cost us that game because he kept missing sitters. And the Paris Saint-Germain game at Old Trafford, I think we would have been through if he would have put one of those chances away against PSG in the Champions League group stages. Coming to you, Mundo, give me your views on Martial. And what do you think? Do you think Martial? Do you think that some of the fan base who are screaming for him to be headed out are right, or do you think they're being too harsh?
I like Martial as a player, and I don't know. It's like I'm just waiting for him to hit that next level. But I've been waiting for 2, 3, 4 years. So I get what Oli Boumaier is saying in terms of is he going to reach the potential that he's got? It's like. It's been 5 or 6 seasons now, and he has patches where you think, "What a player," and then he has patches where you think, "What an awful player." So,
it's like Man United, isn't that just like Man United though? Isn't Tony's form just?
It is, but it's like I don't like always like going back to the past, but if you look at players like Rooney and Ronaldo when they came. Rooney didn't when they first started off, we were a team in transition, but they would take games by the scruff of the neck. And that when you've got big players, they do things in big moments, and I don't really see even Rashford, even though he's he infuriates you sometimes in big games, in clutch moments. He wins games. Bruno's the same, but I can't say the same about Martial. And that's the type of player he should be with the quality that he's got, but he just doesn't deliver. And that's what's frustrating about him. In those big games, in big moments, that's when you know when you've got a real player or not.
Do you think Man United create enough chances for him when he plays a striker? Just before I come to you, Irfan.
I don't. Even if you could put Harry Kane, you could put Haaland in that team. We don't create enough chances. The frustrating thing about today's game was, although we're all going in on Cavani, we didn't get the ball in the box. I think the first cross that we put in the box was like 60-something minute by Luke Shaw when he kind of done a cutback. That was the first cross. It's like, I don't know what was going on, but they were just reluctant to get the ball in the box. But just before you go to earth, if it was me, and this is probably why I'm not a professional manager, but if it was me, I'd put Greenwood as number 9 for the rest of the season. Seriously, because if you're going to do it with the goalkeeper, if he's going to be our future number 9, give him a run. Mm-hmm. Put him in, because he did well. He scored today. I thought he was one of our most better attacking players today in the game. I thought the shot that he had was a bit unlucky. That the one that came up, hit the post on the outside of the post. I thought he was unlucky. Irfan, coming to you, Martial. Are you Martial FC?
Yeah, no. I see a very skillful, very slick footballer there. Like if Guardiola was managing this guy, you'd see a different player. Trust me, you would. He's been let down by the fact we play in a very, very basic team that hasn't got any style of play, has got no level of coaching in the team, and he's one of the players that's deeply affected by that. Because you watch the guy, you can see what he does. He makes the moves, but he doesn't have people on the same vision. He doesn't. United haven't got a style of play, so when you see him put his head down and puts his hands in the air, whatever, everyone. He's a very easy target. Right, but when you need to hold the ball up and you need to bring players in, who can do it apart from this guy? Show me anyone else who does it. This is the only guy that can do it. So everyone in the team has to have a role, and this guy's got a role, but he's been found out because he has his off days. Look, his finishing let us down this year. Let's be honest, right? And Mundo's got a point where I have been waiting for him to jump to the next level. But I don't think it's all on him. I do think it's our structure and our fact that we don't have any style of play. We have no coaching. All those things. When you think of Martial, I think of all these things.
Yeah. Can I just to say that I think that him and Rashford really suffered under Jose Mourinho. I think that their growth was stunted. Definitely. I think because it's well known on the books that he works on the shape a lot more on the shape Jose Mourinho as a manager. He works on the defensive shape, he works on the low block, and he works on the midfield, where the positions of the midfield players, but he doesn't really coach the strikers that much. And definitely there's something to the coaching. I think if we were a stable club, I think if we had stability and then we had better coaches.
Do you know why John Martial is not going anywhere? Because you guys are going to make excuses for him forever like this. That's why it's everything but him. It's everything apart from him. There's other players in this team that are improving. And they've come from small clubs for lesser money or academy players that are making an impact on this team. But not Martial. So you can't keep making excuses. The guy's been here for 5 years. I wouldn't sell him.
Wait a second. What was last season then? Was that not an improvement?
Last season was last season. Where's this season? You want to live in the past? We want to chase City here. We're building something.
Are you saying we had a style of play last season, but we didn't this season? Because this season seems to be the excuse that we don't have a style of play. So what happened last season? Did we have a style of play or not? Like
we didn't have a style of play last season. But I'm just saying
we do have a style of play. This is the thing. That's just an easy excuse for people to make. There's nothing to do with the style of system. Martial does not have the striker's instincts That like when he makes runs into the box, he tends to wait for cutbacks. He doesn't make the run across the front post, across the goalkeeper.
Rachel, I love you. Exactly. He does not go for it. He's never there.
He doesn't.
I think we know that.
I love him as a
I'm not
player.
talking about that. I'm not talking. He's not a striker to me. He's never been a striker. I don't expect you to be in a box. I don't feel Rashford's a striker. I'm not saying that. I'm not making excuses for the guy. But I'm saying that if
We need a striker.
half the other Premier League clubs could get a better player out of Martial than we could. I bet half.
Let me ask everyone a question then. Let me ask, because I've thought about this myself. Think back to Martial when we signed him and when he played under Van Gaal, and think about the Tony Martial that we've got now. Is there any difference between that player and the player that we've got now? Because when I look at him now, I still see the same guy doing the same things. I'm not saying he's doing bad things because he's talented, but I'm not seeing any development in team like what Rachel and Oli Bomaye are saying about his movement improving, him making different types of runs. He's doing the same thing he was doing when we bought him 5 years ago. He's still a very good player, but there hasn't seemed to have been, and I think those things that he's missing, if he added those to his game, then that would take him to the next level, you know?
I agree with that. Yeah.
Rachel, sorry you were cut off, but just give us a bit of the analysis about the style of play. This myth that we don't have a style of play, we're just a moment FC. I know it looks like that to the game, but I genuinely think we do play with there's certain patterns in the team, especially on our left-hand side, you know, the connection between, you know, Maguire, Luke Shaw and Rashford. That's what we are. We are so one-sided. It's unbelievable how one-sided.
Yeah, we are. I agree.
Yeah.
Just before you answer that, guys, I've got a roll. Rachel, lovely to meet you.
Oh, you too.
Nice analysis. Boys, Ole Bumbaye, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Bring on the next team. I'll catch you soon.
See you later, man.
Bye.
Bye.
Go on, Rachel.
So do you know what it is? We play a very direct, fast transition style of football, and a lot of people don't like that because the in thing to do is to keep possession. But the problem with possession football is that you need players that can recycle the ball and retain the ball, and we don't have that. So we have to, we do play a lot of risky balls in because unfortunately we don't have the players that will keep the ball and recycle possession. Now, I get that sometimes it looks like we don't have a style of play, etc. I understand why people think that, but the problem is a lot of our play breaks up in the second third. So with our pivot midfielders, especially when Pogba's not playing or if he's playing poorly like today, a lot of our build-up play breaks down. It also breaks down on the right side because Aaron Wan-Bissaka in the second third is actually quite awful. He's good. He's good in the first third. He's not so great. He's all right in the final third. His crossing is a bit hit and miss. I think he's underrated with his crossing, but you know, people have their own opinions on that. But our right side, especially, it breaks down in the second third, and it's the same thing in the middle, and it's even the same thing on the left. We've seen multiple times like Marcus Rashford will pick up the ball. He'll start running at people and losing the ball easily. Martial's done it on the left as well. Bruno loses the ball all the time. It's a bit of everything. Like, I understand people want us to play better football. Like I do. I love possession-based football, and I don't like the way we play football. But I think to say that we don't have a style of play or a system is actually quite lazy because it takes away from the quality of players that we have. I don't think our players are good enough. I think half our team is actually not very good. I think our right side's not good enough. From right back, right wing, I think our double pivot's imbalanced or unbalanced, sorry. I think our
centre-halves as well.
And I think we've got a problem up front, as I said, like with Martial, as I said, he's excellent at building up with us. He holds up the ball, he drops deep, and he'll be another body in the midfield for us. But when he releases the ball, he doesn't dart into the box and try and make those runs, which strikers should be making. That's my problem with Martial. If he starts making those runs, stop waiting for the cutback, stop staying at the edge of the box, stop occupying the same areas as other players, then we'll see a better Martial. But at the time, like most times, Martial doesn't do that. And it's a problem with all three of our forwards, by the way. How many times, like think about it, how many times have you seen Greenwood, Martial and Rashford all occupying the middle of the box?
Cutback. You know what I call that? Cutback FC. They are cutback FC.
Yeah, it's not good enough.
For that cutback.
Yeah, and our inside forwards should be attacking half spaces. They shouldn't be in the middle. They shouldn't be in the center. So I agree. We could be coached better. We could have a better system, a style of play, all that. It could all be better. But
what do you think? What do you think of the coaching staff? I mean, one of the biggest things, obviously, criticism for me of our structure and of the club is that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at this elite level is learning on the job. I mean, if we're all honest, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not going to walk into top European team after he leaves Man United, you know. But
I agree.
I think the coaching, I look at Kieran McKenna and I watched the United's youth team. Kieran McKenna, United played very progressive possession kind of style of football.
Yeah.
But I think that when I think sometimes when I look at Man United now, and especially recently, when I look at them, I see us playing football like we did under Jose Mourinho. We play that very tentative, slow, you know what I mean, pedantic kind of football where we touch the ball, we don't move it quick enough. It's interesting that you say that style of play is direct, but with directness, you have to be super efficient at getting the ball through the channels. I understand that, you know, the double pivot, what we played in terms of double pivot, they're not good enough. Scott McTominay and Fred are not good enough to play that kind of football. It's almost a kind of throwback to 90s Man United, but 90s Man United had brilliant midfield players who could carry the ball, who could punch that ball into people. You know what I mean? I remember at times when Man United, they would give the other team the ball because they knew as soon as they win a back, within 2-3 touches, that's a way. I mean, people talk about we're just a counter-attack, but counter-attack is a vital part. And if you're good at it, I don't mind Man United are good at really a fast counter-attack because that's aspect of Fergie ball.
Every team should know how to counterattack. This idea that teams should be criticized for counterattacking is crazy to me because, like, every team should know how to counterattack. Real Madrid, when they were under Jose Mourinho, and even a few years after, they were known for being one of the best counterattacking team.
Yeah. They outscored Barcelona. They scored more goals than Barcelona.
Yeah, like
they actually went up to 100 points.
Yeah, exactly. Their ability to mix it up came down to the fact that their midfield was excellent. Like, I'm one of those people. I believe that a team is based around your midfield because
100%.
if you've got fantastic midfielders who can pass the ball and carry the ball as well, only Pogba can do it in our team.
100%.
Only Pogba can pick up the ball and run with it. Only Pogba can make fantastic diagonal passes. Like, he can do everything. Now, I know he was absolutely atrocious today, but on average, Pogba will do all those things. You take him out of the team, which is what I criticize Ollie for when he plays him on the left and on the right. You take him out and you play McFred in there, you're kind of screwed.
Scarred, Rachel. I'm still scarred by the Liverpool game. I'm still scarred.
Yeah, I mean,
Honestly, I don't have that much hair left, but I was pulling every little bit and I was biting my nails. I was punching my walls in my flat. It was absolutely frustrating.
I agree. Ollie does it all the time. It's one of the reasons why I am Ollie out, because he does make these mistakes or make strange team selections. Like, sometimes I understand it because of player availability and some of the opposition teams and the way they play, but he does it too often, and his in-game management is very, very poor. He doesn't adapt to tactical changes. Like in the Everton game with Carlo Ancelotti was excellent. You know, in the first half, remember when Calvert-Lewin got in behind our defense and he should have scored, right? Ancelotti identified again AWB and Lindelof the same way Brighton did today.
Of course.
Right? And he got Richarlison in behind for the second goal. And then the ball went over across and Luke Shaw didn't get out to the ball quick enough. And then it was a cutback and then James Rodriguez scored.
Yeah.
All of that symbolizes our team. All of it.
That
symbolizes it.
Yeah, I mean, some teams don't even know it. Guys, there's a 60 of you in here. We cannot build this community. You're not going to get this type of analysis. Trust me. You're not going to get this authentic, no agenda. This is no agenda. This is just channel. People are just saying, give honest opinions. So please like, share, and subscribe. Irfan, coming to you. Could you respond to that? If you respond to what Rachel and me were talking about in terms of the style of play and how we play.
But Nuruddin, I've always said this. When I look at the team, like, because in the last sort of like 5-6 games, when Pogba was out of the injury, you saw how many draws. You saw the gap between City. Just you get to 10-15 points. You saw what we were like without him when he's on form. Because before he was injured, he was on top form. Now, looking at the game today and looking at United on the whole, is that what this sort of dip in form, this up and down form, has showed me that we really lack creativity. We really, really do. You know, like, look how many times we give the ball away. I don't know any other teams that gives a top team that gives the ball away like we do. We give it away crazy amount of times. So the thing is, it's like I said, you know, I think like this is why I'm sort of Ollie in and out. I sort of switch a bit because I do think he's a great man-to-man guy. But I just don't think the coaching staff and everything, I just don't think it's run professionally. Because I look at the way the team moves. I don't see any movement. I just see them. When I think United, I think I'm watching Serie A. I really do. I think I'm watching it like 10 years ago. The way we play, it's like watching Italian football from years ago.
Very slow. But I mean, that's my criticism of Oli recently. Honestly, I think obviously he's clear because we're playing every 3 games we're playing. But I just think that at times I saw, and the things that where I was screaming outside of Old Trafford and walking out of games because under Jose Mourinho, I see that same kind of pattern, that lethargic, two-touch, ponderous, taking the time, like I said, giving the ball away so much, and then the low block, and like you said, the gap between our midfield, our defense, and our attackers. There's been too many gaps in between the team, and where we would be playing as a unit. The best teams for me play as a unit. You either drop back as a unit at times in the game or push up as a unit. I did think the second half.
For example, Nurin, like for example, take McTominay out because I'll keep Fred for his pressing. All right, he gives the ball away, but his pressing is second to none. The way he wins the ball back. But say we got that guy from AC Milan. What was the guy called? The guy with the dreads. What was his name? Jesse. Yeah. Say we had him instead of Scott McTominay alongside Pogba. I mean, look what our team would be like. Just with one player.
Different flavor.
We concede a lot of goals though. We would concede because we concede a lot of goals.
Yeah, he's a bit too attack. Especially if you're gonna keep the 2 centre halves. If we don't get a faster, more aggressive centre half, because I don't think Maguire is that aggressive, faster centre half. I think that really determines when people are talking about strikers, and obviously we're seeing we're getting linked with Haaland and everybody else. I'm like, I don't want to spend all of that money on Haaland because.
But the thing is, you said it. You say we've got Haaland. Who's going to provide the assists for him?
Haaland's not the priority for me. I think Declan Rice or Ndidi, or Basuma, if people want Basuma as well.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of players we need to start with, because we need someone who can play in a single pivot so that we can play a 4-3-3, and Pogba and Bruno can play as like 8-10 hybrids, and they can sort of get back and go forward freely. But when you play McTominay, Fred, or Matic there, we all know the problems with McTominay and Fred. They're not DMs. So as much as we criticize them, they're not playing in their roles. They don't understand the role the way a natural CDM would. So we have to get someone who can actually hold the midfield, shield the defense, and then we can let Pogba go forward freely. It's for me, it's a personnel issue. Even the movement thing that you mentioned, actually. There's no, in my opinion, there's no way someone like Michael Carrick or Oli was an excellent finisher, but he was also fantastic with his movement. I don't know if you guys remember him. He exploited space all the time. So for me, I can't imagine Ole Gunnar Solskjaer saying to his players, stand still. Do you know what I mean? Movement is very much about footballing IQ as well. Knowing where to make your runs, knowing which spaces to exploit. When Bruno drops deep, Fred or McTominay or Pogba have to move into his position if he gets the ball. Our players don't do that. They're very, very static, and they don't think about what they're doing next. And that, for me, is a personnel issue. I agree. As I said, Oli has issues, but I think people underestimate how bad some of our players are at adapting to situations in the game.
I've been saying that. Go on, Mundo. Come in.
I think I agree with Rachel, that it is a personnel issue. But I'm seeing other managers in the Premier League with lesser teams playing better football than Manchester United.
Exactly.
Yeah, but they're also 16th. They're also losing a lot of games. Leeds are down.
They are, but I think the thing is, and even with Van Gaal, when he was at Manchester United, I wasn't his biggest fan. His football bored me to death, but you could see that he had a plan. He had a plan. And the thing is, with Van Gaal he played people like Tyler Blackett, Cameron Borthwick-Jackson, Paddy McNair in midfield, put Rashford up front, because he had a style of play and said, if I don't have senior players that can do that job, I'm going to go into my youth team.
He made Fellaini look good, Mundo. He made
Fellaini look good. And this is what I'm saying. So Oli, and the thing is that as fans, we're being told, buy into this vision, we're going to promote youth, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. But I'm not seeing Oli take any risks, because if he's saying, right, I've not got a right winger, play a mad, just throw him in.
I agree with that. I agree with that completely.
If he's saying striker's not making the right movement, put Greenwood up front. You've got to try something if you've got a style of play, because otherwise, if you're relying on the Glazers to go into the summer transfer window and start buying in the players, it's not going to happen. So you've got to be creative. Otherwise, we're going to be kind of like stuck where we are at the moment, which is between second and fourth. That's all that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because the players that we've got are clearly not good enough. But you've got to take risks. And I see other managers around the world.
No, he's not done it. He's not done it since the 6-1 at Tottenham. Since the 6-1 at Tottenham, that's when it changed. And I told people, this is going to change because that was a massive shock at Old Trafford, even though a lot of it was down to the fact that we were involved in the quarterfinal or the semi-finals of the Europa League, and we had one pre-season against Villa. In the first game, we played a game later than everybody else when the Premier League season kicked off, and we were lacking fitness. That's why Brighton made 25 chances, record time 5 times they hit the Byron post in that third game that we played at the beginning of the season. But Ollie, from then, that's where McTominay and Fred came in. McTominay and Fred and Pogba was getting pushed out. Even though Pogba wasn't fit, and a lot of our players, that was down to fitness. That was
Ollie's fault as well, because Pogba it was a week after he recovered from COVID, right?
Yeah.
And he played Pogba in the first game of the season, the second and the third. Now that is poor from Ollie. Yeah. Like, we all know what COVID does to people. Like, people are not breathing properly when they're recovering. Why are you playing a professional footballer in a Premier League team? Yeah, he wasn't running.
Honestly, I'm telling you, there was times where Pogba looked like a donkey trying to control a ball. Four-legged donkey. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. But Ollie tries to shoehorn his favourites in. But honestly, I almost had a heart attack today when he took Rashford off. I think that's the first time.
He's injured. You can tell he was injured.
Yeah.
But even when he's injured, he plays him. Even if he's injured, he plays in the whole 90. Unless he's getting I thought the only way Rashford's coming off the pitch before the ref blows the whistle is if he's getting carried off on a stretcher. And even then, I think Ollie was still trying to put him back on the pitch.
I think I definitely think that there's a thing that we miss, guys, that we think Ollie's more of an old school kind of guy. And the hard knocks of Man United, this kind of Fergie DNA, Man United DNA, where he's like, they need to toughen up. The players need to toughen up. And I think that was part of him throwing, like Rachel was saying, Pogba in after he just recovered from COVID. And also, remember last season even, when Pogba had an injury, then he played against Arsenal, and then he played him against Rochdale, and he got injured. And then Pogba had to sort of seek out medical help from somewhere else, because obviously our medical team weren't that good enough. And the problem, they didn't find the problem, or they weren't solving the problem that he had. He had to get a professional, a second opinion somewhere else for him to go and have that operation. So it shows there are a couple of things that look at Ollie, and he even comes out in interviews said, "I know I'm stubborn," and I'm like, of course you know the criticism that's coming, especially when you're playing two guys who don't play together. To me, the biggest thing for me is the center up, the spine, the heart of your team. It's that spine, that defense. In modern football, the goalkeeper, and that's another thing about De Gea as well. The goalkeeper, the way modern football is, especially passing it out and the way that they play, the connection between the two centre-halves and the goalkeeper and the fullbacks are vital. And you have to be able to hold possession in modern football if you want to be a progressive team and an attacking team. Anyway, guys, we're coming to the last. This is the last comments on this. I just want to looking forward. Obviously, I don't know when I'm going to get you back on here, Rachel, and get you all together. But hopefully, Rachel, this won't be your last, and hopefully this will be a regular thing, because we do get an insight. Because I've always believed football is not a binary thing for me. Everybody can play. I've been all over the world. Trust me. Football. You need anything, and anybody can have an opinion on football. So the idea that women can't have a say. I mean, I read it in the comments. She knows ball. You got a lot of fans in the comments, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yo, follow Rachel, man. The Devil Avocado on Twitter. Give her a follow. Hopefully this won't be a last time, and hopefully she'll be a regular on this channel. But I want to say, what are you hopeful in the summer that the club will back Ollie, knowing that Ollie's going to get that 3-year contract?
Oh, I'm full of dread. Honestly, you know what I think is going to happen? I think we're going to get Tyrone Mings, Danny Ings. We're going to bring back Garner to play CDM, and it's going to be a mess. Honestly, I'm not looking forward to the summer. Like, I hope we'll make the right decisions. Like, I think there's a pathway for us getting Declan Rice with Jesse Lingard as a trade with cash, but our board will find a way to screw it over. They'll probably value Jesse Lingard at 50 million and be like, straight swap, no cash. Something stupid like that. I can't deal with it. It makes me ill. The whole thing. I'm just gonna just
hope and pray they don't make those mistakes, yeah? So other than go and do what we want them to do, we're actually begging our board, the bankers, because that's what we're controlled by, JB Morgan. We are JB Morgan FC, guys.
JP Morgan.
JB Morgan. I can't even say it. Bankers. We are bankers.
JP.
Bankers FC. Investment Bankers FC. But that's what we are. But coming to you, Mundo, do you agree with Rachel? Are you more hopeful? Come on, we need some positivity here.
Well, we've been linked with the Fiorentina centre half, Milenkovic.
He's apparently good.
No, he looks actually he's 6'5", so he's huge.
Okay, Mundo, can I just stop you there 1 minute? If we're willing to drop Maguire, him and Maguire at our back line, good night, Vienna.
No, no.
He's quite quick, apparently.
He can actually move. He can cover the ground. He's actually not. It's not.
No, trust. Listen, we're talking about a league that's one of the slowest leagues, right? In the top 4 or 5 leagues in Europe.
I was going to say we're either going to get the Serbian. We're going to get what do you call it? Nemanja 2.0. And we're going to get the Serbian Harry Maguire. I don't know which one it's going to be, but I mean, just as Rachel said, I mean, it's.
I actually would go for Tyrone Mings. Actually, Rachel said about Tyrone Mings. I actually would go for our partnership. I would go for it. I think his name Conte, that kid. I think he's really good.
Conte is good.
I rate him. I genuinely rate him. He's
Tyrone Mings is a dog. Tyrone Mings is Chris Smalling's brother, left-footed Smalling. I'm telling you, he's a calamity, that kid. So we don't want him. I don't think they're going to address the right areas. That's the thing. That's what I'm worried about. I don't think they're going to address the right areas of the team. So it's not just about who they get. It's about targeting the right areas of the team as well. Because I don't think they're going to buy a midfielder, and we desperately need a midfielder. We need a right winger, we need a striker, we need a centre half. That's 4 positions that we desperately need. It's not going to happen. I think we'll get maximum 2 signings. That's it.
And where do you think those 2 signings should be? Quickly.
If I had to prioritise two positions on the pitch, centre half definitely and right wing.
Rachel is following like Oli Bumbaye, the ghost. She's a ghost.
I will be next time. I've not been very well, and I look and feel awful.
Let me say
next time I will.
We appreciate you, whether it's by voice or you show your face. We don't bully anybody out here, people. We don't bully anybody out here, okay? People, whatever they're comfortable with. Irfan, coming to you. Are you hopeful? Are you Mr. Positive on this stream?
Well, I mean, give me an example of where these guys have really surprised us and go, wow, some really good business. These guys are crazy. I almost think they're on drugs, these guys, the way they do business. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, how can you even get your head around where this major, massive, global, super giant club, and we have these donkeys doing business for us? It's just, I can't understand it. I mean, look, I'd like to give you loads of BS and say, oh, they're going to get all these top players, but not any real fan knows. You never know what's going to happen with the buys. You just never know what's going to happen because you know that the buying is so poor and the strategizing of the financial transfers is so bad that it's not just bad, it's embarrassingly bad for a super giant club.
When I say Leicester City, Wolverhampton, have a better Everton, have a better football instructor than Man United, that just tells you everything you need.
It's true.
It is very true.
All the other fans of other clubs know it about our buying. They all know it. Everyone knows it.
Yeah, like JB Morgan. JB Morgan. That's who we are.
JP Morgan.
JP, is it P?
Yeah, it's P.
Yeah.
P. Well, what do I know about bankers?
We keep calling him David De Gea. It's actually David De Gea.
Hey, listen, it's De Gea to me. Hey, listen,
no, they're not even JP. No, JP Morgan make money. JP Morgan, a successful bank. You want to talk about what were they called? The brothers.
No, you mean what they call? What was the one that went under? No, Lehman Brothers. Lehman Brothers.
We're the Lehman Brothers. That's who we are.
That caused the financial crash. Yeah. We've been financially crashing since Fergie left. It shows you what kind of a man Fergie was.
That other one, what they called Northern Rock. What was it, Northern Rock?
Northern Rock.
That's us. We're Northern Rock.
Northern Rock. It's really interesting though. When I tell this to people are like, hey, the 3 people who have the most power at Man United, obviously, is their buddies. Is Ed Woodward. He has complete control of Man United in terms of day-to-day running. And is Richard Arnold and Matt Judge. All 3 of them went to Bristol University. We run by Bristol University. And the funniest thing when I tell people, actually, he studied, Ed Woodward studied physics. He was a physics. He studied physics at university. What does that tell you? He's a scientist in the mix and he cannot even mix anything. What does that tell you, eh? What does that tell you? The only thing that why he's in he's given that position because he actually bullied. He realized there's these instruments to help, because one thing I always said, and then actually when I've done the research, I found out that the Glazers, the father, put in 200 million of their own money, and they borrow the rest. But Woodward worked out what to use, and Woodward, one of the most famous quotes from Woodward is that Man United, imagine, this is how he described Man United to the BBC journalist years ago. He said, Man United is like, because of people, everybody, all the United fans kicking off about the debt, he said, it's like having a mortgage. But this the difference between the other mortgage and house mortgage and Man United is that Man United is a lot more worth than what the debt is. So that's what Man United are worth, a lot more than what the actual debt is. And the difference in this mortgage, that's Man United, is that is a money-making machine.
It is, yeah.
That he literally used. I'm just honestly, and I'm not getting too far from his words, right? But that's what he said. Man United, you're making a lot more money with this mortgage than than the house mortgage.
Yeah, because it's a super brand, it's a global brand, it's a super sporting brand.
It's just so sad. It's so sad. Dividends in it. I think we're one of the only clubs where the owners take dividends. They take dividends. But anyway, guys, we could go on and on and on and on all day. Please like, share, subscribe. We cannot build this community without you guys. I would like to thank Mundo. I would like to thank Irfan, and obviously Rachel, where Rachel is getting a lot of love in the comments. People just, people I just want to see you. People are thinking you're not real, Rachel. They're like, who is this? Who's this with this top-notch football analysis? But we can't see it. Anyway, whatever you're comfortable with. It's been an absolute pleasure, guys. I hope you had a fantastic Easter weekend. Enjoy the bank holiday Monday tomorrow, those of you who are in the UK. And those of you who are celebrating Easter still worldwide, happy Easter. And we will see you here, hopefully, before the build-up to Tottenham, innit? Woo!
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Do you have a Europa League game before Tottenham?
Granada, we played Granada on
Thursday, yeah.
Lovely part of Spain. That's all I've got to say. Lovely part of Spain. If you go there, you've been to that part of Spain.
It's very beautiful. Yeah, I've been.
It's a very beautiful part of Spain. Their team is, I think they're decent. If they play a high line against us, though, we're deadly. We are absolutely deadly. So let's hope they repeat what Ria saw, that they play the high line against us.
Highline FC. That's what we should be called. Highline FC.
That's what we should be
That's the only way we score goals.
Listen, I said it honestly. When we played to the Real Sociedad, I said, can every other team we're playing this season please just play high line against us? Because if you play high line against us, we're absolutely deadly. Man, like Fred putting through balls, but that just shows you football, the levels of football. When you're playing a high line, it just takes one ball in behind, and that's it. Rashford is away. But I'm hoping
play against Spanish and bloody German teams.
Say that again.
So can we just play against Spanish and German teams? They always play a high line.
Yeah, definitely. But anyway, guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you actually for the Granada build-up. Definitely, Rachel. Hopefully, we'll get to see you there. Irfan and Mundo. Definitely, thank you so much, guys, and thank you to every one of you. Therapy Army. This has been, this is balanced. We're balanced. I'm gonna keep it hopeful. I'm gonna think John Murtaugh's gonna pull one out the hat this year, and he's gonna cover the positions we need: the CDM, the center half, and the right wing. Peace, love, light. Take care, people.
Hi, guys.